back to the broadcast. We're all about tech and innovation, and we have an incredible guest joining us this morning, so she can tell us what it is that she's doing, in her own special way, in line on matters in innovation, and how much so this is going to speak hugely to the youths towards, changing or having that makeshift from, focusing much on employment and everything, but equally coming out there and, creating positions for themselves and, bringing up solutions to the issues that we face, because we always say that, what creativity, business, entrepreneurship is about creating that solution. So Jihan Abass is joining us this particular morning to tell us what is this special thing that she does. I was looking at her, looks very young, seems very young, but with great information that is probably going to be handy for you back at home. Good to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
All right. And of course, straight to the point, let's first of all pick this video clip that is going to guide us through to the discussion.
For me, it's the critical part of Lamy and Griffin is that it was built in Africa for Africans. So that's something that I'm very proud of.
Well, that's pretty much short, but all the same, good to have you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, we had quite a lengthy clip. My producer argues that, well, then we'll have gotten all the information and you're here to tell us. So what is so special about what it is that you are doing in line with this insurance?
Yeah, I think the first thing is that 97% of Africans don't have access to insurance. That's a really alarming number when you look at the context, especially here when people rely on single sources of income.
Yeah.
So for me, after assessing the situation, I realized that the problem was the distribution problem of insurance. And secondly, there was no technological infrastructure to facilitate the proper and easy distribution of insurance products. So what we've built is a platform that you can use to create and distribute insurance products. You can create and take a product to market in only 3 weeks. And the Griffin app is an example of that,
right,
which runs on that platform.
So it's an application for what insurance are we talking about? What are we looking at in this case?
So actually, in terms of our platform, we're insurance agnostic. We can create products for any kind of insurance in the market. But our main flagship product is the Griffin app, which is a motor insurance app. Through that, you can buy your insurance, car insurance, motorcycle insurance. If you're an Uber driver, you can buy your policy there in less than 2 minutes, end to end. And it streamlines the entire process. You can pause, you can upgrade and downgrade on demand. So many new features that, were never possible before without technology. So this is what the Lamy platform, which is the technological backbone that facilitates that, can bring forth for people.
The people who sell insurance will tell you, more so in the country, it's pretty much hard to sell insurance. It's pretty much hard to convince someone that, you honestly need this for your future, you need this for your children, you need this for your car, you need this, all that. And they will tell you that they get hassles and bustles getting to convince someone to buy into their idea. What makes you think that is going to be a whole different affair and that very many people will stream into this particular app and they get the necessary information so that they will delve into, buying insurances or, getting themselves and their assets and all that insured?
I think the first thing is nobody ever wakes up in the morning thinking, oh God, I need to buy insurance. I need to buy insurance today. But I think the problem has been that insurance hasn't been presented in the right way. But if you tell somebody, like if somebody has a family, you tell them, you can protect your family, then you can convince them to buy life insurance. You have to convey it in a way that resonates with people. With the car insurance app, we understood in the Kenyan market there were a lot of pain points, in terms of the process for buying your policy. It takes up to a day, 2 days to get a quote even for your policy. But here, you can buy a policy in the middle of the night. So we're offering the utmost convenience for people. And I think that's a key change in the market.
All right, let's not look at the people first. Let's first of all get to hear on the comfort of the people who are selling this insurance. Just how do you get to work with them? How do they look at this application as something that will come in handy to help them, speak to the people out there? Yeah,
I think also we have another product which is called Bima Teke Teke. It's for matatu drivers. So that's an app for matatu drivers to buy their policies through that. So it's like we can buy short-term policies, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month. And for that, agents can use that app very easily to, sell to the matatus, their customers, their long-time customers. The thing is, previously they'd have to go into the insurance offices, they'd have to wait there for the policies to be printed out. It's a whole ordeal. But here, they just go on the app, they order the insurance policy, it's emailed to them, sent to them via WhatsApp, and literally it takes 40 minutes on that app to buy a policy. So it's super easy, and renewal is just one click. So if it comes next month and their customer needs to renew, all they need to do is press one button and the whole thing is done for them.
Yeah. All right, not everyone is tech savvy. Well, while we argue that yes, the future is technology and everything, so what are you doing to cater for the customers who probably would have it difficult or are still not tech savvy? But I mean, the matatu industry, for instance, in most cases are not to sound as though I'm looking down upon them. In most instances, they would probably not even want to focus much, even with their phones, their gadgets. They would tell you would prefer the Mulika Mwizi as opposed to having this, smartphones.
Yeah. I think this is why we made it easy for agents to be able to buy for their on the behalf of their customers. Right. Just to bridge that gap, because some people might be older as well. Like my grandma wants to buy her insurance. For her, she'll probably find it easier to just call her agent up. But in terms of like ordering the policy, nonetheless, it makes it the whole process, even for the agent, even for the delivery of the policy, the time frame is much shorter.
Maybe we should have started by just explaining how this works and where then the agents come in and how then people are able to access these agents so that they can help them out.
Yeah, so it's very different. I think the Griffin app is direct to consumer, so it targets just the end customer. Yeah. But the Bima Teke Teke app, which is the Matatu one, that one has an agent network. So any agent can download the app on the Play Store, Google Play Store, and then start selling policies through that immediately. So it's a fairly simple and very short process.
Right. All right. In this case, then, how do you, as the founders or as the brain behind the application now, get to make money?
Yeah, so in terms of monetizing it, we earn a percentage of the gross written premium, and then we work very closely with underwriters to streamline that process. So the problem has been that the products are one size fits all, as opposed to catering to certain industries. Like for example, a Buddha Buddha rider, it's not that they don't want to buy insurance, but often they're stopped and they don't have insurance. The reason is the insurance policy costs 6,000 and they cannot pay that upfront. So how can we come in using technology to break that up into a daily payment, weekly payment, to make it affordable for them, So I think in terms of we sort of monetize through the commissions structure, and then we work very closely with insurance companies to even design these kinds of new innovative products as well.
All right. Well, of course, going through the market, would you say that this is one of its kind in the country? Is it now, or are there others?
It was.
It was.
It was.
Oh, until
so it was actually the first.
Yeah.
But now I think we have a few that are coming up. But it's great. I think in terms of consumers, for us, it's about making it as easy as possible for people to access insurance. Like I said, 97% of people don't have access to insurance or don't even have insurance policies. So, I'm glad that people are coming up and innovating around this space.
All right, what is it that you probably would say within your own space you are offering that will be different from all these other ones that are cropping up, or will be different and special, so that at least if there's a consumer who would be interested, then this is the first application they would click? Yeah,
so I would say that the technology that we've built is robust and allows for so many things. So the Allow Me platform is our key differentiating factor. We've digitized the entire value chain of insurance, from KYC, pricing, underwriting of products in real time, and claims processing, that anyone can use our platform to create products. So we don't see ourselves as, we see ourselves as enabler to people who want to come into the market. So I would say that's our biggest differentiating factor. And secondly, we do mostly B2B partnerships. So one of our partners, for example, is Jumia. We've integrated into the Jumia platform to sell insurance. That's the first time that insurance is being sold on an online marketplace. So these kinds of innovations that the platform allows for, that's the key differentiator, because you're able to plug into different platforms, online platforms that people are used to using on a day-to-day basis, and make insurance available there.
All right. How long have you been in existence?
We launched our products at the start of the year, so 24th of Jan, that was our launch. And we've been building the technology since about July 2018.
Looking at the space, room for growth?
I see it in a completely different way, because I look at in Kenya, 2.8% of people have insurance. That means the rest is the market, in terms of that. My math is not so good, but the very large portion that's left, more than 97% of people who don't have insurance. So that's what I see as the market. If you look at Africa, it's a similar story. 3% of Africa is penetrated with insurance, so that leaves a very large portion. So I would say that there's a lot of growth opportunities. There's a lot of room for new players to come into the market, and the goal should be, bring insurance to everyone, provide everybody with a safety net.
Yeah, but the reception so far. What is in this space? How have people received it? Do you have agents that are working with you already? Do you have insurances that have registered with the app already?
Yes, so we work with about 15 underwriters in Africa. Yeah, the reception has been really great. I think COVID has been a very, very clear COVID has highlighted the importance of digital insurance, and the fact that nobody wants to go into branches. Nobody has because you couldn't. Agents even on the ground, how safe is it for them to go directly to people? Yeah. But this way, from the comfort of their home, they can still keep their customer base. They can still sell insurance, and it's all seamless and easy. Yeah. So I think the whole COVID pandemic has really been an accelerator in highlighting, the gap.
All right, and speaking of which then, as this is highlighted, it's important that people are well endowed with information of the same. So how much is being done towards ensuring that the people, first of all, from the basics, because that's the market, they get to understand the importance of insurance and now take it to the next level where they would embrace digital insurance?
Yeah, I think it's really, really important. But I think in Kenya, especially, we've always had a culture of insurance. People pooling money together and then paying for if one person is sick out of that group. Yeah. That is insurance. But it's a different way of seeing insurance, right? So how can we take the traditional insurance that people are used to, but they don't really call it insurance, and formalize it? Yeah. And that's exactly what we're trying to do, and also using technology to propel that process. I think in terms of our apps, we try to simplify the different, there's a lot of insurance jargon, make it as simple as possible so people understand. We've summarized a policy document that's 40 pages into a single page that you can see, you can read, and you can understand very simply. So we do our best to make sure that the customer is well informed, so that later on they're not told, like, we're not going to pay your claim because of this tiny thing that you didn't read properly. So we try to make it as clear as possible for them.
Why I started by us saying that it's been hard to sell insurance, because maybe there's been a lot of misconception, of course, within this particular space. You come to sell an insurance to me today, I'd question a lot, because I do not know the genuineness. Sometimes I feel like I'll just dish out my money and then it will vanish in thin air. And true to speak, there are agencies or insurance agencies that really have vanished with people's money, and today it's cases. What do you do to ensure that within this particular platform, every agent that comes on board, every insurance company that comes on board is legit enough so that the customers at the end of the game are protected?
Yeah, I think that's a very important point, because the problem of lack of trust in the insurance industry is something that's you see here, but also is replicated around the world. Yeah. Nobody trusts their insurance company, because month on month they pay insurance premiums, and the day they have a claim, the claim might not even be paid out, or might take 60 to 90 days to be paid out, right? So in terms of that, we vet every single person that every insurance company that joins our platform. Yeah. We have strict SLAs, like all our claims have to be paid out within 7 days or shorter. So that's a very, very important. We don't onboard underwriters that are not able to adhere to that, for example, because it's really important to to keep that customer trust. When they come on board and they buy their policy in 2 minutes, why should their claim take 90 days to be paid out? So we try our best to make sure that we do use the best sort of insurance products, underwriters, and also agents. Most of the agents actually that we work with directly work with us, so we are able to make sure that they can adhere to these standards as well.
Well, most of these insurance companies will come with outrageous and very many covers that are in existence. So are there limits to the covers that an insurance can present within your platform, or it is open?
So I think it's twofold. So we do select products. We also design products with underwriters sometimes, but mostly we select like the best products from different underwriters.
Right.
So for example, in our motor insurance app, we have a different provider for like a motorcycle policy, boda boda. Then we have a different underwriter for like a comprehensive policy of cars valued over this much. So we go through each and every underwriter, what offering they have, you know, the perception in terms of the consumer perception of them, and then we onboard them based on those principles. Because we're not a comparison site. We actually go out and select the best products for our customers.
All right, data protection. I don't know whether there's a lot of data of the customers being involved in this particular one, but I mean, everyone would want to sit comfortable and know very well that their data is protected.
Of course.
What is being done towards that?
Yeah, so I think that's a, you know, it's a huge, you know, of huge importance to us. We've built our platform to adhere to GDPR standards, which is really important, especially because we have we work with a lot of big banks as well, so there's a lot of data. So we make sure that, you know, we can adhere to the highest security standards. We're in the process of getting other certifications for data security as well. And we have engineers on our team that specialize in data protection as well. And so it's very, very important. We also have like an internal cybersecurity committee. Weekly we approve new policies and things like that. So we take it, it's very, very important. And it's something that, you know, has often been ignored. But it's critical. It's critical.
All right. You say the market lies in the 80-something% or 90-something%. I fall into that space also. Really, what is being done? What would you do in your own special capacity, knowing that this is where the market is? And it's not just about the business or the money that you're going to make about it, but it's the importance of having the people embracing these, insurance policies, because they are important, for long-term purposes or for their own, special purposes. How do we switch? How do we get people from this point where they will stop shying away from insurances and, change their face to look at insurances as a way of protecting themselves, which is actually the case?
Yeah, I think when you look at the fact that something as small as a flood can actually change, the life of a child, I think it's really, really important for us to bring forth the best insurance products to fit different customer demographics. So what we do in terms of, I think the main thing that we do is the platform. Other people can use it to create and distribute products as well. So it's not just us, which means we have a wider reach. So if it means working with other insurtechs that are coming up in the market, they can use our platform to create and distribute products. Banks as well. We work with a big bank to distribute insurance products. So it's about the reach. How can you plug in to these large distribution partners the people are very much accustomed to? At the end of the day, like this is, for example, with Jumia, people buy things on Jumia all the time. They order food on Jumia. So now when you sell insurance on Jumia, you're changing the narrative of what insurance is. So that's what we're trying to do.
All right, that's amazing. The bigger brothers, or the mature democracies, are so much engraved into the insurance world, and they're doing so well. I have conversations with some of my friends down there, and they tell you, what, something as basic as a phone is insured, which is probably not the case here. And after a year, the insurance calls you to say that, this phone has been upgraded, the same phone that you have, there's an upgrade of the same, would you want to bring that back and take a new one, and all these stories and all that. So what will it take for us, first of all, as African, and then boiling down to Kenya, to switch to that point where it will be totally a world of insurance, and there's confidence that indeed my insurance will take care of that?
We have to build the trust. We're starting from a very low point in which the customer trust has been diminished. So we have to build that trust one step at a time to make sure that, when people buy a policy, they know that they will be paid out. And that's something that needs to change in the market. That's a mentality that we need to change. We've had incidences like these farmers who bought insurance policies but were never paid out. There's so many different stories, So for us, it's about changing that narrative completely, changing the mentality, and hopefully within the next 3 to 5 years, I think it's going to be a completely different landscape. Similar to M-Pesa, nobody was using it at what, it was very new. It was, now even my parents, my grandparents, everybody just uses it because it's become a way of life. So how can we make insurance part of your day-to-day life? I think that's going to be the key difference.
All right, so let's talk about Africa. And now that you see that, yes, this app is also, across different other parts of Africa. Just what is the situation like with other countries in comparison to what we have in Kenya today?
I would say that it's, for example, some countries are very much more advanced than we are. For example, South Africa has one of the the highest insured populations in the world, for example, you know, and nobody expects that because it's in Africa. Exactly,
yeah.
but they do, because insurance has been, Old Mutual has been there for over 100 years.
Yeah.
So some countries are more advanced. Other countries that you expect to be advanced, like Nigeria, still have very low insurance penetration levels, like only 1%. So I think it's the key thing is, you know, you see a lot of fintechs coming up, for example, in Nigeria, but how can we use those platforms, these fintechs that have been coming up, successful ones, to embed and integrate insurance products there? You know, whether it's lending platforms, whether it's banking, online banking platforms, you know, how can we use these avenues, you know, that people have been using, and you know, these startups have grown so much in the tech ecosystem in Nigeria. However, insurance hasn't been one of them. I think also in terms of regulation, some countries have stricter regulations for insurance than others. And some regulators are more open to, you know, innovative technologies, such as here in Kenya, the regulator is very much open to, you know, new innovations. So I think it's a very big landscape.
All right. Well, I don't know whether this is appropriate to ask, but I will ask it all the same. We have had, let's talk about health insurances, yeah? And we've had some, you know, hospitals being put on the spot because, you know, when they realize that you are under an insurance, they know that this is now time to mint money. It's time to take so much, you know, and outrageous bills will be presented on your table, even when you just went there for a minor surgery and everything. I mean, is this then coming on board to taint the image of insurances, in as much as maybe you'll not feel the pinch because, well, money is not coming directly from your pocket, but it actually is coming from your pocket based on the monthly contributions or the contributions that you make?
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. There's a lot of fraud that happens in hospitals from the hospital carrier side, and I think that with technology, you know, we're gonna move to a point that we can actually estimate the costs of certain tests before somebody runs them. So, for example, if somebody we know somebody's getting like a scan, whether it's like an ultrasound or whatever, we'll be able to say, like, this is how much it should cost. So now you can go back and question these hospitals and ask them, like, why are you charging this much? And I think also we'll move, like in the US, they give these large hospitals and insurance companies give customers options. So they tell you, like, you can either go here for a scan, or you can go here, which is half the price, or you can go here, which is a quarter of the price. You know, and that way, you know, it's very, very clear. The options are very clear. And I think the problem has been that the demand is sort of plugged into one place, like these large hospitals. So they feel like they can actually extort and exploit the insurance industry. Yeah.
All right. Well, these companies, just what makes you think they would look at this space, the digital space, as a one-stop shop, as, you know, a shop where they can be confident that they're going to sell their products to the people without having to interact with them, you know, on a direct basis? Because in most cases, they'd want to have their own, you know, officials down on ground and trying to sell this products to them, you know, and all that. And we all say that yes, it's okay with the digital aspect. It makes it a little bit more easier. But why would they want to invest, you know, in an application like yours, as opposed to doing it their own way, you know, having their website running and all that?
Yeah, I think the main thing is reach, because, for example, for individual agents and things like that, you know, how many people can you actually reach? But now when you're using a digital mechanism, you know, you can reach 20 times more people, make 20 times more commissions of these sales, and, you know, you have a 20 times bigger portfolio of customers. So in terms of reach, you know, I think it's about that, you know, how many people can you actually reach?
Okay, well, speaking of which, we have these government ones that are almost automatic, and I'll tell you, you know, most of the Kenyans started with that, because then they look at it as well, you know, you have no option, but you just have to pay this to the government because of, say, NHIF and all that. And like you rightfully put it, you know, they would not be looked at as insurances, but in real sense, they are forms of insurances. So, facing or moving from that to this particular side, first of all, do we also have incorporation of the likes of NHIF and the same thing, you know, that would work within your own application?
Yeah, absolutely. We haven't launched a health product yet, but when we hopefully we will soon. And definitely, I think it should be integrated directly into the platform, into the products as well.
All right. So, of course, where do you see yourself? What do you plan to, you know, to achieve with this particular platform? Just how much of a space does it have to fly and the wings out there?
Yeah, I hope to, break the 3% insurance penetration barrier, get that far beyond 3%, get insurance and a safety net to as many people as possible, and I think for me that's why I started this business. That's why I'm here, is to actually have that impact.
There's this notion that insurances are expensive. Is it the case? Well, without looking at the long-term benefits of it, sometimes you're being told that, oh, for my car, then I have to part ways with about 3,000, almost 30,000 annually, or even 30,000, in a month, based on the kind of car that you got. So, are we looking at a scenario where this narrative is going to change? Are we looking at a scenario where insurances will be more affordable in comparison to what we have today, that everyone would be comfortable that, this is within my means, and in as much as maybe there are packages or so?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the main things is the distribution cost of insurance is quite high, because insurance companies have to have many branches, they have to have a lot of staff, all these things. However, when you use technology, a lot of that is actually eliminated. So hopefully we'll see a trickle down of those lower costs in the products as well. And in terms of flexibility of the products, like I mentioned with the Boda Boda, making it more flexible, giving people the option to pay on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis, which is not possible without technology. And that is what makes insurance products affordable. And I think for a long time, insurance policies have been one size fits all, and there's been this stereotype, as you said, of insurance is too expensive or it's something for the wealthy. But you have policies that are as little as 17 shillings a day, or 100 shillings a month for life insurance. So I think it's about the distribution and also innovating around the products and creating new products that fit this market.
All right, well, let's probably take us through just how do we get, you said you download it from Play Store and everything, just, a random on-air view of how you get into the application and how you go about it.
Sure. So you can go to the Google Play Store, you can download the app, either the Matatu app, Bima Teke Teke, or the Griffin Motor app. If you want to buy your policy, you just start off by registering. And then you're asked like maybe 4 or 5 questions about your car, after which you're given a quote, and you can pay via M-Pesa or via card. You can choose to pay in installments, up to 3 installments for your policy, and then that's it, you're done.
You're done. What will be your parting shots? Thank you so much. You are doing a great job. And first of all, by the way, on a youth angle and perspective, yesterday we were celebrating Mashujaa Day, and the president was out there calling upon the youths to take up some of these challenges, be creative enough to take advantage of the digital space, which is something most of us shy away from. What will be your advice to them?
I would say don't be afraid. There's a lot of things that we can build, that we can build here. The environment is ripe for disruption on so many levels. You can see the success of M-Pesa. You can see even in Nigeria the success of Paystacker. They sold for $200 million. There's a lot of opportunity in Africa. Don't give up, and just keep moving on.
Jihan Abass, thank you so much for the great insights. You're doing a good job. Once again, what's the name of the application?
The Griffin Motor app.
The Griffin Motor app. Yes, take advantage of that. In this particular space, it is limited to motors as of now.
You can buy a policy for motorcycle, a car as well.
But then again, it's expanding, as you said.
It is, yes, it is definitely expanding.
All right, well, thank you so much once again. It was great having you this morning, and that's where then we get to wind up this particular session of Morning Cafe. It was good having you right from the word go and up until now. Lots of activities, so much feedback coming from you, and we are grateful for that. So I'll leave you with a spoken word moment, and of course, it is going to be captive.